take off.
All right, are we ready to do some brief introductions?
Yes, that sounds great to us.
Yeah.
Who would like to go first?
Why don't we start down here and then wrap around like that?
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah, so I'm Caitlin and I'm the credit analyst with Rand.
I'm Taylor and I'm the Director of Purchasing.
I'm Evan and I'm the Senior Purchasing Agent.
I'm Isaac and I'm the Operations Manager.
I'm Adam and I am the Chief Operations Officer.
And I'm Justin, I'm the CEO.
And I'm Joel and I'm the CFO of Loffler.
And my name is Isaac and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer.
Fantastic. Well, with that out of the way, have we had any changes with our agenda since last week and this week? If not, maybe we can move forward and get right into it.
No changes on our end.
Nothing for us? No. Beautiful.
Perfect, and then at our last meeting, we discussed Isaac was gonna touch on the agenda, do a brief overview.
Yeah, I can run through that again real quick. So we talked about starting with openings, some credit terms first, then talking about maybe some discounts, then the length of the contract itself, and finally some free parts and services. And then we were thinking about moving on to maybe discussing that as teams, splitting off, and then moving into actually negotiating and discussing all those points as well, establishing the credit terms, the pricing, discounts, any concessions, the length of the contract, and then we'll move into free parts and services. Again, establish that, and then just do an overview of the agreements that we have, and
Yes.
please sign a contract.
Then we'll be able to add to that as well. We have printed out a copy of everything that we talked about today. We can sign it, go through it one by one, and then at the end, if we come to an agreement, everyone can sign their names and then we get it all.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
So why don't we dive right into credit terms? We had that first on the agenda just because we were both polar opposite in that spectrum. So I wanted to ask you to kind of explain where you're coming from in terms of the 10 days, 3%. I just wanted to hear a little bit more on that and your reasoning behind it.
Yeah, so I believe we came with an opening last week of 310 net 30. Is that what you guys have down in your notes? Is 3% off if you pay within 10 days, or net 30, which is paid in full with no discount. I'm sure Joel here can go into a little bit more detail on why that is the case.
Yep, we wanted to offer that to you to work both ways with the party. We wanted to get this contract moving as soon as possible for your benefit as well as ours. We wanted to establish a net 3% discount to you, just to extend that to offer you a fair share price as well as any other negotiations we make as well to that. And within 10 days, which we believe is certainly something we could receive from your part, and with that offering that discount, if you're able to pay within that day time, and then we are offering the net 60 as well to make that larger time frame if you're not able to make within the 10 days and offer that discount to you. That was our process behind that.
Just to clarify, he meant to say net 30, not net 60.
Yeah, net
Okay.
30, sorry.
Thank you for clarifying.
Great, and then just to kind of coming from our end now, so the net 10, yes, that is something, we're a large company, that's something that we can pay in that amount of time for sure, but it benefits us a lot more having that money longer because we can do more with it in the marketplace, and that is value to us and in our company, and that's also something that we're willing to work with your company on, but the 10 days is something that that's not going to be something that we'll be able to do, but what we're willing to go up or come down from our opening as well.
Okay. I'm just curious as to, you guys saying that 90 is your preferred to, because you said it gives you more time to work in the marketplace. Well, as such a big company, 3M, I can't imagine you guys have more leeway with stuff like that. The CEO has a huge market share. I mean, market cap is what right now?
Number very high.
Yeah. So, last week I checked that your stock share price is around 180, so it's significantly higher than Loffler. And we just think, we're just kind of confused as to why you guys prefer 990. I was wondering if you guys explain a little bit further on that.
Absolutely. I can actually expand on that, Justin. So when you examine cost of capital, 3M's cost of capital is 6% versus Loffler's that's 10%. And just specifically by looking at the time value of money, if we were able to have the amount that we are paying to you for 90 days, we can put that into the marketplace and make more of a profit with that. Let's say the deal is $300,000. With that $300,000, then we could getting rid of it right away. And so it would just be beneficial for us as a company to have that versus giving it away, if that makes sense. Did that
Okay.
answer your question?
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that
Yeah,
for me.
absolutely.
Joel, did you have anything like that?
That makes sense on your end that you'd like to reinvest it. I think just with the difference in size,
Yeah.
like Justin said, how big, $100 billion company, we're a significant smaller size than you, and with all the resources that you have as such a large company, we want to, overall, we want to extend the best deal to you. And for us to keep our factories running, to offer the best services and the best prices to you and the best product, we really stick to, we would appreciate getting that money sooner. And we really want to extend and like you to consider that discount we can offer to you to make that deal sweeter to you in the long end, which will extend for the term of the contract.
Definitely. And I think just going off of what you just said, I think the discount, like we'd be willing to lessen or the credit terms if we get a larger discount. And I think that's something that we can talk about in the future. We'd definitely be willing to give a little bit there. So it's something that we can continue talking about.
On top of that as well, the 3% discount that you mentioned, if we're looking at it in the 300,000 terms, that's only about $9,000 that we would be getting off. So I think that's somewhere where we want to talk about with our discount and maybe getting more than 3% to bring that down from 90.
And that's something we can definitely discuss for sure.
Absolutely, and just one last thing I wanted to emphasize is the credibility factor that, this is a relationship that we want to establish, we want to build with you. And, like I said previously, we can get you that money, we can pay right away, but it just benefits us significantly.
Sure thing. I appreciate that. And just same for us, we like, well, we're going to build a long-term relationship and make sure it's beneficial for both companies and not just one-sided, who gets a better deal and who doesn't. We want to kind of make it, have it be somewhere where we're both happy with it, so.
Absolutely. So what do we think about diving into pricing and discounts?
Yes, that's great. And then I believe last week when we approached this subject, we came forward with 15% off as an opening for % off list price. Is that what you guys currently have for your notes and for what we discussed last week?
Correct, yes.
And then you guys mentioned 45% off for your opening for % discount. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And then I was wondering if you guys could maybe explain a little bit further why you guys came to that number of 45% off.
Taylor, is that something that you want to?
Yeah, I can dive into this a little bit. One thing that we know is important to your company is the length of contract. So we think by adding a larger discount, it's actually going to allow us to have a longer contract with you in the long run, and you'll be getting more money at a longer amount of time if you do lower that price for us.
So you're basically just emphasizing a larger discount will help allow for a longer contract in this relationship with Loffler. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
And then do you have any questions for us as why we decided to start at 15? Or was that pretty explainable last week when we were discussing it?
Do you want to elaborate just a little bit on the 15%?
Joel, is that something you want to do?
Yeah, I think with our margins being tighter on this type of product and being able to get so many to you, we definitely want to negotiate to make this a longer term deal. I think the length of the deal is important to the both of us, and having that compatibility between us is important. We began with 15 as we do with other standard negotiations. We're definitely willing to work that with you to discuss that. That's more our base, and we'd really like to discuss more, meet you somewhere from where you're at higher with that number.
So in that case, it seems that length of contract and discount are kind of tied together in this
Yes.
Yeah, that's
scenario.
really-
So do we want to move into length of contract?
Yes.
Yes.
Further this conversation, okay. So length of contract, you previously in our last meeting, 5 years was your opening, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And ours was 2 years.
Okay, 2 years. Is you guys are adjusted that from 3 years to 2 years, correct?
Correct.
To help allow for flexibility and just kind of discussing what we think is best for both companies.
Correct.
Exactly. So with that, 15% is a number that we would like to see increased, and that's something that if your company is able to give a little bit on your end, we would be more than happy to extend our length of contract.
Okay.
Like I said previously, our relationship is something that we want to build. We're excited to work with you. But that's something that's going to be more incentivizing for us in the long run.
And I think we're in agreement on our side, and that's gonna be a discussion, a talking point for, because I know, as Joel was saying, 15% is kind of our base for the percent off, and obviously, like, we're both emphasizing, okay, we want to do a longer term contract, so we know that there's gonna be some room for, some negotiation, just really just kind of talking through and see, like, what's really best for both of us. And then, along with like each contract, do you guys feel like free parts and service, do you think that's a conversation that we can really nail down later on in the meeting after we figure out the terms, price discounts, and like the contract? Because we on our end feel like that's our top 3 priority, and then based on where the conversation that we can really see where parts and service fits in. What do you guys think about that?
I think that's a great idea. I think that the free parts and services will figure itself out as we move towards an agreement. I think that's an area where we're both a little bit more flexible in, so I think that will work itself out as we dive into the negotiation part of this meeting.
Okay, perfect. And so I guess we kind of have an idea of like credit terms, price discounts, and like the contract so far, and we're kind of in agreement on just like everything so far. Do you think right now is a good time to maybe take a few minutes and kind of discuss with their teams and then come back and really nail down really just where we want to go next?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. How does 5 minutes sound? Quick 5 minute recess? Great, all right.
So we can,
All right, so
yeah, we can go.
Sure.
good.
I think that the backbone of their argument
Is a percentage off.
for their, they're really looking for more percentage. We can get a longer contract, so what do we want? Do we want a longer contract?
We want a longer contract.
Do we want to offer a little bit more?
Should we do
We could say we can bump it to like 18%.
should we do 18% and then maybe for
What are we willing to go to? Because that's kind of,
our max is
highest.
25?
our max is 25, so
Yeah.
what if we said, we'll bump, after like a little bit further discussion, we
We'll
decided that we're gonna.
I think we should do
18%.
increments. It's like, I think increments of 3 and then
Yeah.
maybe that's how I
Well, because then, if we bump it up to 18, and then if we talk to them again about the 3, 10, net 30 again?
I think we extend they say they can do it, and I'm saying you have the capital, let's do it. I'll bump it up to 60, that's only 30 days shorter, so if you can't do the 10 payments, that's okay. We'll give you a mere month between the 90 and 6 that you wanted. We're just gonna offer you that 3, because you can do it, and we think you really wanna save money, so let's do that. So I'm thinking, we bump up, we want to go with 18 first,
Yeah.
before we get to 20. So we'll do, let's do 18, we'll do 18 here, we'll bring the credit terms up to 310, let's go to 60,
Yeah.
I'll bring up the mere month before, can't be within the 10, no big deal, we think it'd be beneficial because you stayed, you were able to do so, so we think you should do it. And that will just benefit us to have a long run.
And then if for some reason we feel like we're trying to get somewhere on that topic, maybe we can, like, hey, like, if it's something you're willing to work with us on here, maybe we can bump down from 5 years to 4, if that makes you more comfortable.
Yeah.
And then maybe that's when you can throw in towards the end, after discussing the percentage and the credit terms.
Right.
If that makes sense.
5 to 4 years.
Yeah,
I just think that, yeah.
like a contract that can be our,
I don't think we should be afraid to say either, like, their whole main argument for their credit terms is that they want to just make a ton of money.
Right.
Like, any business does, I mean, we should, we can, like, as far as, like, you know.
I'm just gonna say, I think the 3% savings,
maybe
Which will
we
be-
should really,
which will be only 9,000 you save, but over the length of contract, I think the investment you're talking about may not be as great as what you'll get upfront here.
yeah.
And you stating that you're able to do that, so we think it's in your best interest as
You,
well as ours.
you can also go into detail, if it's 4-year contract, or $9,000 in savings, times by 4 years, that's $36,000 you save.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can always do calculations, and if you want to, you can show them a visual.
Yeah.
So, like,
Okay, by the time that they come out of here, we will have been going for almost 25 minutes,
Or, no,
right?
it'll be like 20.
We started at,
Yeah,
well,
he
we started at 4:35.
Okay, you started
Yeah.
that.
Sort of 15, 16 minutes.
So 18, 20, and then our max is 25. I think we should stay at 310 and 60 for credit terms. Like, once we go there, we stay. And then maybe we can work with them on the, like, the contract if they want us to give something, if they're willing to accept that.
They can pay that. Devin said that we can do it 45%.
We want them to come down,
Yeah, they have to come way down.
they have to come down 25.
So,
Well, we'll just open up 18, and then they,
yeah,
the
so
credit
when we
terms.
sit back down, we're just gonna say, after like some discussion, we decide, you know, or we're doing credit transfers, exactly.
Yeah, usually.
And we bump that up to net 60 now.
I'm gonna say, we would be willing to adjust the net time if you were able to come down
Discount.
on that 45. So I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I'll start with that.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds
So
good.
we'll do that. Would we also be willing to, what the heck are you gonna say?
I feel the last piece we can bring in after we discuss that is like, hey, if we feel like we're getting that schedule, we can like, okay, what if we bump our opening from 5 years to 4 years? To see if that helps to get some traction.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Cool.
we're there.
So should I ask? Should I say we'd be willing to?
If you're willing to work with you on credit terms, if you're willing to come down on your personnel first.
Yeah, and see what they say, and then possibly. Do you want to read it and then come in and bring it down to 5? You want to read what they're thinking? I'll just go on credit terms, and you want to come in and yours, bring it down.
I can bring in the contract.
Okay.
I can, if we feel like we're being too standard, so I can like jump in. But I mean, how do you feel like if, based on what we discussed so far, would you feel more comfortable if we dropped our, like, the contract for 5 years or 4 years? Would that make you guys feel a little bit more comfortable? Something like that. So.
You ready?
Yes.
Yep.
There's warm up a little bit out there?
It is a little bit warm out there.
A little jealous.
This is all brisk in here, isn't it?
Would you guys like to start with what you talked about, and I can fill you in on what we talked about?
Definitely. So we would be willing to negotiate without credit terms, if you'd be able to come down on your initial discount price of 45%. Would that be something you would be willing to discuss further?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So we heard what you said about how you think you could better invest that money instead of paying it up front in 10 days.
With that, you said you wanted net 90, we'd be willing to come up from net 30 to net 60, and we'd still like to extend that 3% within the 10-day payment, depending on how many years, like Taylor said, it'd be $9,000 per year, depending on that length of contract. If it's at 4 years, for example, it'd be $36,000. Within that month of 60 to 90 days of the net, based on if you were able to pay within the 10 days, $36,000, being able to invest that between 30 days is something that I think would be difficult for some people. I know with Freedom of such size, you'll be able to put that to good use, but we think that upfront offer still is beneficial to you. So we'd be willing to extend that to you upon hearing what do you have to say.
Yeah, so going off that, coming down from the discount, did you have a specific number in mind for that, or are you looking for us right now to give you a number?
Maybe we're just curious about where you guys are coming from on your end, or maybe we're willing to work with you and maybe or discuss maybe doing that 60 and do 53%. So if you know that maybe like there's some flexibility there, but like we just think us personally 45% off is a little uncomfortable for us. So we just want to see if you guys have any other numbers in mind.
Discount is something that, and that's something that we previously discussed, is something that we're willing to come down from. And something that I want, just tying into what we've already discussed, something that we want to bring up is if we double their current opening for length of contract, we bring that up to 4 years. If that would make a difference in terms of how you guys would feel about us coming down from 45 to 40. That's what we previously discussed, and I wanted to hear your thoughts and see how your company feels about that.
I would say we appreciate that offer. We think a longer term contract will be beneficial for the both of us in the long run. I think 4 years is a good number to look at now. In terms of the 40%, we think that high number still seems high to us. Like just to clarify to you that 3% if you pay within the 10 days is going to be on top of the initial discount. In terms of that, we'd be willing to come up to 18%, still far from your 40. 40 still seems a high number in terms of us being able to operate efficiently and to get those products out to you and have a positive experience in the future with us.
Yeah. So.
And I appreciate you guys explaining that to us. And it was important to us that you brought up moving up to net 60. We expressed how that's an important number to us as well. Just thinking about all of this, we said that we'd kind of touch on free parts and services after discussing. So your initial opening was 1 year, free parts and services. That's something that we would be willing to keep at, and we would also come down from 40 to 35%. If that's something that works for you, your company, that's something that I feel like we're trying to do a little wiggle room.
Okay.
In terms of longevity of this contract, like we previously stated, the discount is a huge factor for us in terms of our long-term commitment.
Okay, so just kind of reiterate what you kind of just expressed is that if we keep our same openness for your parts and service, you'd be willing to drop down from 40 to 35% off discount for that. Okay. Joel, do you have any objections to that?
Again, appreciate that number. 35 is something more manageable that we can look into further. I think with the parts and service, Adam, you wanted to touch?
Yeah, I'd like to further discuss that. So for the first year, you'll receive free parts and service for every kiosk that you purchase. And then for the next year, the second year of our contract, you'll still receive free parts and service only for the kiosks that you purchase in the second year. So if the first year, like you had a few bad parts, but we're already in the second year of our contract, that would be coming out of your guys' pocket instead of us giving you free parts and services for year one when we're in year two of the contract.
And at Loffler, we don't see, huge issues happening with free parts and service because as we discussed like in previous meetings, is that the kiosks, they kind of update themselves and they kind of like iPhone, they update themselves, so we don't see any huge issues, especially for the first few years of contract. And just kind of get your thoughts on what Adam's explained over here about parts and service and the more detailed parts.
Isaac, is that something you want to touch on?
Yeah, I can touch on that. So just to clarify, and double check it. I understood what you said. So as each year goes on, only the new products purchased that year would be covered under that 1 year like warranty of parts and services, not anything previously, right?
Correct.
Okay. I think that's something that seems pretty manageable and pretty good to us. I know we discussed parts and services a little bit in the previous meetings, but kind of like the rollover of new products being covered, I think, is something that would be very beneficial to us in terms of parts and services. Do you have anything else?
Well, just kind of thinking about the way this conversation is going, like we discussed previously, we've done casual business in the past, and we really want to work with you guys and build a positive relationship here. And what we just discussed is a lot of things where we're coming down, and we're coming down to what you guys want. So at this point, we're looking for a little bit of compensation on your side. We just went down in almost every category from our opening, so we would just like to hear a little bit more on your end in terms of what you have to offer.
Yes.
If I could add to that as well, a big thing for us is length of contract, and we did double our length of contract from 2 to 4, and that's, if you're looking at that, that's $600,000, which is a large amount of money.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing that we've given, and we've also dropped from net 90, and for our company, investing that money elsewhere is a huge thing.
Okay.
And so I think if you guys can come up on the discount, it'll make us feel a lot better about dropping those.
Yeah, additionally, just to add on, we have already dropped our discount 10%. We start at 45, we're now at 35, and I don't think at the moment we're willing to go any lower than that. So if there's anything else that we can work out, we should talk about that now.
Yeah. Kind of just based on what we've discussed so far and what we're just hearing the concerns, I think this would be a great time for us to take a few minutes to kind of really come with a better position to really get you guys feel more comfortable about this partnership. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes, absolutely.
How much, are you guys looking at 5 minutes?
5 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
5 minutes for me?
Yeah.
Great.
Perfect.
Sorry, okay.
That was so huge that you put that in
That
there.
was-
I was just like, all right.
That's why,
Yeah, same.
that's why I sent it, because I thought that we were saying a lot of things about us coming down from it, so I was like, I felt like we were giving a lot and they weren't giving much, so
Right.
I just had to say something.
Yeah, the 18%.
18% sorry.
So I think we are,
Tough to shut
yeah, I think we are strict on pricing for now.
Yeah.
We do not go any lower because we need that. We can we could raise length of contract by 2 years if absolutely needed, but we
I
shouldn't.
don't
Because
think
we
can
should
go up to
not go that
6.
far.
We
Oh,
can,
we can.
our target's 6.
Target's
But I don't
six.
think we do that.
No, I don't think we should, but if absolutely like if we needed to, but we
So-
already gave them.
Because
all-
their opening was 5, right?
So,
I think we should be pretty strict from now on credit terms and pricing, but definitely pricing.
yeah.
So for our wiggle room, we're just gonna kind of be at the point where like, our hands are tied, we'll come up another year for length of contract to extend this.
But let them.
Let's hear what they
Yeah,
say.
let's hear what, let's.
We will, okay, where we stand, we will go up from 4 to 5. We are strict on 35%. And credit terms, what are we at now, 60s?
Yeah, and
Credit
that's our
terms.
target, and so if we could get that, that would be
And
amazing.
they offered it.
And what was that, like 10 days again?
So
They
they
got it
offered
10 days again, and I
I
think
think-
next time that they do that, it's like, well, we can't pay 10 days, like we're not paying you 10 days.
They're also really bringing up the 3%, and that's I think we need to tell them that that's not, like $36,000
Right.
is almost nothing.
Right.
And they keep offering that like it's like a,
We literally doubled the amount of money that they would make, they need to come down on price, you know, that's the biggest thing.
And we should say too, like, it's not gonna be a this and maybe this, we need to decide net 60 or net 10, because they're kind of saying,
Yeah,
we'll give you a net 60, but you can also pay in 10 if you choose. We should just say we're not gonna do that, so you don't need to worry about the 3% on top of 35.
mhm,
yeah,
I agree.
that's just not something we're
But I
gonna.
hope that they come back, because we've given them a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that they want, and so I think we have to be strict from now on, because we've.
I think our job's easier at this point. We gave them, like, it's time for them to
Yeah.
get.
We're at,
Yeah.
I'll bring it up and be like, part of this is a win-win negotiation,
Right.
that's what we've talked about a lot, so right now, you need to, you know, make
I
that.
feel like a lot of things they've said, it's like, you guys are 3M, you have so much of this, but it's like, we can't just be like, oh, because we have the money, we're gonna do
Right.
it.
That's something you can bring up.
We're not charity, like,
we're trying to save as much,
still a
like,
business.
The reason
We're
we're
trying to make as much money as
successful is
possible.
because we do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
in terms of parts and services,
No,
do we just
so-
not worry, like where,
I think that's just another thing in leverage that we could use, but,
I mean, we already said that, like, we said that we would come down if they are able to keep it at 35.
yeah,
And so, like, if they try to come at us with another, like, net 10, net this,
yeah,
we'll
well,
shut it down.
Could we drop in that 45, what was our target?
our target's
60.
60, and I mean, we could if
Oh.
we get pricing on like the contract, because those are our two, like, number ones,
Yeah.
but then maybe negotiate a little bit more on, free parts and service.
Yeah.
Because our opening was length of contract, so be like, right now, we're at 4 years length of contract, if we do 4 years, we're willing to come all the way down to 1 year, you know what I mean?
I'm just gonna emphasize the significance of us committing to a 5-year deal
Yeah.
post-pandemic.
I think we need
We're
to
at
bring
4
that
right
up.
now, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't wanna go to 5,
No,
but
no.
if we have to, we
Yeah.
can.
Mhm.
But I think that's good to bring up is that like the liability, like we don't know how long these products are gonna be relevant, and if we're giving you an extra
Right.
2 years off of what we wanted already,
Right.
that's a lot of money.
Also, if we add a 5th year, and then their discount is still at 25%, like, you're getting more money
Yeah.
if you, like, we're giving you more money than we're even getting discounted at that point. You
Because
know
if
what
we
I'm
give
saying?
them, we're giving them extra years, which is
Yeah.
$300,000.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
guaranteed
It's
money.
benefiting them,
Yeah.
not us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're still buying products that we might not have.
Right.
Mhm.
So that should be in here any second.
Yeah. Good work, team.
I think it's going good.
Oh, it's on camera.
Just bark it.
Alright, so we have 25 minutes.
I might have too. That's okay.
You might have what?
I said I think I said you guys.
I did once too.
Just barking at what says you guys. Excuse me.
Mhm.
Okay.
So we have 25 minutes.
Yeah. Which is kind of crazy. It's going fast.
We're really fast, yeah. We're already talking. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's only 25 minutes.
Myself, when
So-
we were all typing as I was talking, I was like trying to read.
I was
discussed and I was like, oh no.
Well, yeah, I was kind of knew that 3% services or something that like, we're like, whatever.
Yeah,
So-
and that's kind of what I figured, but
So Evan, I think if it gets down to 15 minutes, you should be okay. We have
What's our
15
end
minutes
time?
left, 35. So at 5:20.
You ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
You should just call their attention if you guys are.
Welcome back.
I was able to warm up my hands a little bit.
Yeah, right?
Feel a lot better. So, our team's had some time to discuss, and we feel like we've come back with a well-rounded, cohesive, idea that we feel like would be beneficial for both companies. So, with that being said, are you guys willing to listen to what we have to say?
Of course.
Great, so after some discussion, we feel like you're right, you guys can come down from 45 to 35, so we want to do the same thing. So from our initial 15% off, we want to bump that up to 25. So we'll go from 15% off this list price to 25, and we would still like to keep the contract at 4 years. Because I think that's beneficial for long-term, just partnership and just overall value. And then also we think that 310 and net 60, since we kind of already discussed that net 60 is a little bit more doable for you guys who think they'll be comfortable to leave that there. And then also parts and service kind of stays the same. And with that being said, I'd like to hear what you guys have to say.
So with the 4-year contract, just thinking post-pandemic, a deal like this, we know is huge for your company, and like I said, we want to be a part of this. And based off our previous conversation, we did come down significantly in every area that we've been discussing, and we want to stay firm on the 35%. We're, like I said, we've been flexible in pretty much every area. We're willing to discuss other options in terms of figuring out other solutions. But that 35% for a 4-year long-term contract post-COVID, with the liability and everything that goes with that, that's very important to us, and I just want to express that.
Yeah. And Joel, would you like to do some calculations on the benefits of 25% off and maybe including the extra 3% if they pay within 10 days instead of 60?
Can we just jump in there quick? We just want to say that but we are not looking at the net 10 3%. So in terms of a discount, we're not really looking at the 35 with an additional 3% on top of that. It would be strict 35% net 60.
Yeah, we understand that, but we want to give you some insight on maybe why it'd be beneficial for you to take the 310 instead of the net 60. That's what we're trying to get at.
So you're not even willing to consider the 3%, or would you like to?
We would be willing to consider the net 3% if you were willing to go higher in your discount.
Okay.
You'd be willing to consider a lower credit term if you were willing to raise your discount. Even more.
Yeah. And like as I was just trying to say, like since we've come up from 15 to 25, we'd like to also give you some more breakdowns on the more fine details on numbers of just the 25% and maybe even adding the additional 3% and how that would be of value to you guys, and just what we're trying to get at here.
Just at face value, if we did 4 years and assuming, like we said before, 300,000 in product a year, be $1.2 million that deal. Right now we're at 25%, so we'd be willing to offer you $300,000 off, and over the 4-year terms. If you're willing to consider further the 3% we'd be willing to do, that'd be another $36,000 of savings, which we think, we still believe would be worth the investment up front than, I guess, how to phrase this, but how you want to invest it further. So we think, again, that going further, we'd be willing to add more value to Isaac had.
Yeah, so like as far as the marketing aspect of this goes, we're willing to send a team out there from Loffler and create a 30-second video, kind of how these products are benefiting, both companies. And I think it'd be great PR, especially with, as you mentioned, COVID, and how we're both working together to make the world a safer place. I know that you guys really pride yourself on being, at the forefront of health. So we figured that this 30-second video, free of charge to you guys, obviously, could add a lot of value.
And going off that point, in our previous conversations, we're very well aware of the product and all of its features and the benefits, and that's a huge reason why we're here right now. And so, like, in terms of negotiating, I would like to stick to the 4 crucial areas that we've been discussing. In terms of PR, I don't really see how that benefits us at all.
It would just be, it's just really an added incentive for you guys. I mean, it wouldn't cost you guys anything. It should really just allow us, give you a way to really give you guys some positive PR and just really show, hey, like, Rihanna is working with other companies. They're really wanting to stay ahead of the curve pandemic, because who knows what is the next aftercode. Is there going to be another one where it's more severe? And it's really just creating a space where the world is a safer place, because these kiosks are helpful to really just monitor health screening checks, but also used for security reasons. And I know with 3M, you guys are really high-tech, top secret, NDA type company. You guys want to keep those information really safeguarding, and these kiosks really help them contributing to that cause. So we feel like it's just really a good way to show that we're willing to work with you here. We really want this partnership to be successful for both companies, and it just really us wanting to take it a step further to really show that into not just really both of our companies know, but our shareholders know, because I know shareholders, they really like to buy into companies based on what they do with other companies and how they view really just real world problems and how they respond to it. So if you're thinking long term, you guys are really seeing a lot of outside factors of shareholders and just really other companies taking a look, oh wow, like, I want to work with 3M too because they did this with Loffler and there's a good partnership. That's really what our perspective is.
And we appreciate that gesture 100%, and I see where that's coming from, and I also think that that's a conversation that we can have further after this negotiation.
Yeah, I have a quick question if you don't mind. What would make you guys willing to come up to 35%? Like, what are you guys looking for to come up to 35% for discount?
Can I just, Joel?
Do you mind if we have a quick conversation here?
Yes.
Just like 2 minutes?
Yeah, yep, that sounds good.
Talking about I think it's just a waste of time.
Yeah. One thing we could try to say is we can't do it that time, can we?
No.
No.
I said we'd be willing to negotiate. I know, that was probably confusing. I didn't mean that, but.
So this is our picture the next time then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
So when they come back, it's probably going to be close to 520.
Yeah.
We'll hear them out. If they give us something that we're looking for in terms of that discount,
Yeah.
maybe they come a little bit lower in another area, that might be our opportunity to be like, hey, if we can keep this here, you guys are happy with your discount, we'll come up to 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then kind of transition into like just settling an agreement.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna come back with credit terms though.
I think
I think
so,
that's what they're
because
gonna
there's
do.
not really anything else
What's
that,
our
And then I think
target,
we have
60?
to, yeah, and then
Yeah.
I think we have to say, I think that's when we should bring in the length of contract.
Yeah.
But if you don't
What's
mind
our
when
minimum
they,
for credit terms?
That's net 30.
yeah, if you don't mind when they get in, maybe you should say, okay, we have 15 minutes, like it's kind of game time.
yeah.
So if we do our minimum for credit terms, it's ranked 3, and we go down to 30, and we get that 35, and we get the 5-year target, I feel like we can agree to net 30.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You know
I
what I
think
mean?
so.
yeah.
If
But
we have
in
to.
that case, then do we ask them to come up to 2 years for free parts and
We
service?
can
We
ask,
could at the end, yeah.
but I think it's also beneficial, because if we're getting, better than our target on length of contract, getting our target price, and then like giving on credit term and free parts, I'd say that's kind of a win.
But
So we're giving
If
on
we get our
two-
first
two.
one of them below, one of
one
them
of them.
at like more than target,
Yeah.
or whatever, and the other one at target,
I think that's,
then we can still hit minimum for that, I feel like,
Yeah.
especially being 3M.
And it's what we ranked the least,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
those are the things that.
Cause I feel like for them to jump that, I feel like it's gonna take a lot for them to jump from whatever they're at to.
But they, I think in November too, they just gave us a 28% discount. That's what
Yeah.
they're saying, 28%.
mhm.
And it's like, 35's not that far off. Plus, if we add another year, that's another 300,000, like I said before,
Yeah.
they're making more money that way.
Yeah,
It's benefiting them more
Way
than
more.
the money they're saving
But,
in the discount, or the money they're making
I
on
feel
the
like
discount.
we're not gonna get net 60, 35% and like the
No.
contract person.
no, but. I
So
think-
credit terms is where we're okay to budgeting, and then let's just hear them out, and if we need to,
I guess we could reverse it too and do net 60 at 30% if they jump up to 30%.
Mhm.
I think we should keep 35 just because we
35.
have been, and
Yeah.
then it's our
Okay.
second.
Yeah.
Worst case, maybe.
Yeah, worst case. But I think we
Cut
also have
30.
that extra year that we can add on like the contract, which is still.
And we're still
So
under,
Net
yeah.
30, 5 years, and 35%.
Okay.
So already, this is our goal right now. Like, maybe. This is just what we're thinking of.
I'm gonna add 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Real quick, I just wanted to point out that we are at the 15-minute mark.
Yep,
Yes.
we're gonna full speed here.
Alright,
So, we had a pretty lengthy discussion in the short amount of time we had. And our team here, we're firm at 25% off discount, but we'd be willing to make a concession and go from 4 years to 3 years on contract, so that'd be one less year you guys have to worry about having to have as much money to pay up front. It said 1.2 million, it'd be down to 900,000, and that's what we're at right now. 25% off for 3-year contracts,
So,
and is that your net 60?
and it'd be 310 at 60. Yes.
so is there anything that would make you go to that 35%? Because we also said that we weren't gonna budge from that. But we talked about possibly being willing to add years onto the contract and give, which is actually more beneficial for you because we are not, the amount of money we're giving you is way more than the discount that we are getting.
Joel, I'll let you take it.
If we were able to present you with a 5-year contract, could we get that 35% if we came down on credit terms as well? Is that something you would consider? Just like Evan
We'd
said
be
before.
able to get that number on top of the discount with credit terms closer to 35 if you had an extended contract, so we'd be willing to discuss that further.
I do feel like 3M has just given a lot in this negotiation.
So,
And Evan, I don't know if you have anything to add.
would it make you guys feel more comfortable instead of saying, because I know you guys are kind of iffy about net 10 or 3% off net 10, but what if we stuck at 25% off list price at 3-year contract, and if you pay within 10 days, that's an extra 5% off, that would be
we'll get
30%. That'd be 30% total off list price if you pay within 10 days, and it'd be a 3-year contract, so that's one less year you guys to worry about. So you guys are already saving $300,000 plus with the extra 5% on top of the 25. That's significant savings right there. How would you guys feel about that?
So the way I'm looking at this right now is, and something that we've reiterated over and over, is all about a win-win situation, right? And we're sitting at a 35 and a 25. I like the idea and where you guys are at. My question right now is, hypothetically, if we drop down to 30, would you come up to 30? Because you're firm at 25, we're firm at 35. If we're gonna get anywhere in this relationship and moving forward, I think it would be a huge step if we both just gave a little bit.
Would you be willing to accept that 5% coming under credit terms
No.
No,
if that came off from 3?
we aren't able to pay in 10 days, unfortunately.
Right now, what we are looking at is we can add a year to the contract, which benefits your company if we get that 35%. So that guarantees you for another year. And that would be sitting at the net 60, which we've come down from net 91.
We just think that credit terms is really important for us, because at Loffler, you're a very small company, we don't have as much resources as you guys do. And to keep our factories running, we really rely on those credit terms to have companies pay within 10 days, so we can pay our workers and our employees to make sure that we can keep making these products to premium quality that you guys so deserve, to make sure that your factories and companies are staying safe and secure and at the forefront of what's going on in today's world.
How would coming down to net 30 be for you guys? We still would like that 35%, but we started at 90 and we're coming all the way down to 30. And we're willing to give that net 30
If you
to you
would-
guys.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
If you would come down to net 30, say we could extend the credit terms from 10 days to 20, there's a 10-day difference between the two. I think the value of holding on to that money between 10 days of the savings of, if we did, say, 3 years at 30%, if you paid within 10 days, would be $270,000. We think the savings there, if we extended it up to 20 days for 5% at net 30, just a mere 10-day difference, and that would make it 30% overall, and keep it at 3, or keep it to 4, depending on how that sounds to you.
So clarifying, just in that scenario, overall, we'd be sitting at 30%.
Yep, to pay within up to 20 now, you come down for your net to 30, so 10-day difference between that and 20, so we'd give you the 25% off, 5% more on top of that with credit terms, so it'd be 30%.
So could you come to, we went down 60, you guys
Which is
came
2
up
months.
10. So the difference there isn't exactly equal. And so if we come to net 30, would you guys be willing to extend that discount to net 30 as well? And we're both coming from both sides, making it a little bit more fair.
Win-win scenario.
So what you're saying, if we, so our discount is 25%, but if we do 5%, an extra 5%, if you guys pay within 30 days, is that what I'm hearing?
Net 30 at a 30% discount.
Then
Yeah.
30% discount is what you guys are proposing.
Mhm.
And then would that be a 4 year or 3 years?
3 years.
3 years.
But we could do. You guys are-
I think we'd be able to make that net 30 and offer you that discount within 30 days.
Mhm.
We would be able to offer that if you could do 4 years.
4 years instead of 3 at 30% off. 30% off of net 30, no discount, pay within 10 days.
Yeah, net 30% off overall, 4-year contract, parts and services remaining the same.
And we also would like to add,
And we'd like to still
And we'll
accept
still,
that
we'll
deal.
still throw in the,
Video.
That sounds great to us. In that scenario, going back to free parts and services, something that we'd like to request is extending that first year to 2 years,
we're firm at a year, we like to,
firm in a year.
Yeah.
The,
But that's what happens throughout the entire contract as well. So first year you get free parts, and then the second year,
when you buy more product,
You
you
get
still
free
get
parts in
free
the
year
second.
on that.
the second year, but the first year batch, you won't get any free part and service. So it kind of just like renews itself every year,
Mhm.
but the previous year won't get any new parts and services.
I see, I hear you, I hear what you're saying.
So for us, it sounds like we've come down all the way from 45% to 30%. We've come down from net 90 to net 30, and now we're only getting 1 year of free parts and services.
What if
And we
we,
added an extra year onto our length, or 2 more years to our length of contract.
So this happens throughout the entire contract. So in year 4, you won't get any free parts and services from year 3 kiosks that you guys bought. It's only with that year's purchases, if that makes more sense.
Yeah, we understand, we are still going for the 2 years. That would be our ideal.
And based on our previous discussions, it sounded like this was the most flexible area.
yeah, so we have already had a brief discussion about this, and maybe, would you be comfortable not doing 2 years, but doing 18 months, a year and a half? That's an extra 6 months, just in case something happens at the first year. We feel like it's still beneficial, because parts and service is not cheap, and that's something we'd be coming for 18 months for each of the patches that you guys cover. So technically, after year 4 of the contract ends, you still have an extra 6 months after the contract is over. We're still paying for any parts and service or technicians if anything comes up on those products. So basically what we're proposing is 4 years net 30% off, free parts and service for a year and a half, and a free 30-second video, which would be beneficial for both companies for public relations, and really just an overview for just the public and shareholders that are really invested into both companies and maybe would like to maybe buy into more of that with that type of atmosphere.
So I just want to back up a little bit. Right now, me and my team, we're not 100% satisfied where we're currently sitting. But backtracking to where we were earlier at the 4 years, net 60.
Yeah,
Well,
if you want to go back to 60.
I know I'm backtracking and tracking. So net 60, and then I believe it was 1 year, and that's where we were sitting at 25, 35. So and then you mentioned that 20-day scenario that would add a percentage to that overall discount. That's something that currently right now is more appealing to us than what's being currently offered.
Okay. So what you're saying, so if you stick at 4 years and have 30% off, a free 30-second video on our end, if we give in and give you 2 years for free parts and service, would you guys be satisfied with that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that just one more time? So I make
Yeah,
sure.
so it'd be 4 years for length of contract, net 30, no % off, at 30% off list price, free parts and service for 2 years, not 1. And we would provide a free 30-second video on how both companies are working so well together and why there's a great partnership and how we're saving lives and just really being safe, and especially in our day and age of COVID. Like, a lot of things are going on. It's really good for company image.
So I'm just thinking right now, that previous net 60 though, that net 60, 4 minutes I know. How are we feeling right now?
I feel like we came from 15 to 30. You guys came from 45 to 30.
Yeah.
We came from 310 net 60 to net 30 with no discount. And you guys came from 2 years to 4 years. And now we feel like we're giving some concessions there and going from 1 year to 2 years. And we're also adding on a video. So I feel like on both ends, I feel like we're kind of in the middle, and I feel like both parties would be happy with this proposal.
I think that,
Can I just repeat one more time what you're proposing? 4-year contract,
Yes.
30%, net 30,
Yes.
and 2 years for free parts and services.
You guys okay with that?
I think that sounds good to us.
Perfect.
That sounds good.
And with that being said, Joel?
Yep, I'll reiterate that on top as I have it on the contract, so it'll be $300,000 per year, full value, length of contract, be 4 years, parts and services, 2 years to 3M from Loffler. Credit terms will be net 60 in payment, and discount will be 30 upfront
You
as
meant
well.
to say net 30.
Net 30, sorry, keep it 60, net 30, 30% discount upfront as well as the video thrown in. Does that agree with what you said?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So we have this pulled up for you. I'll just, if everyone agrees to that, it just sounds like it does. I can sign up first for us here at Loffler.
I'd shake your hand if I could.
You as well.
Pleasure doing business.
Yeah, it's great to meet
You
you.
as well. I know they got a little choppy there at times, but we appreciate you guys working with us.
You as well.
I know, I was just shaking when I signed it.
And we'll get this contract moving and look forward to getting those
Kiosks.
kiosks to you and look forward to the next 4 years and appreciate the business.
Perfect.
Thank you
guys so much.
We're excited, looking forward to it.